The future. Changes in journey times and temperature. Again, if I could look at this in terms of the potential for things going wrong, it would be fair to say, on average, I believe journey times are getting longer in terms of shipments of all wine. So this just isn't about bulk, this is about all wines. Many wines are taking longer, and temperatures in transit is also a slight concern as well. And I have really, I've got through this a little bit quicker than I had planned to, but perhaps a plea at the end in terms of if there is a new process, a new procedure, a new enological material, it would be wonderful if correct and full due diligence were performed before this product were launched or before this process happened, because I'm a firm believer that if there are any problems in our industry in terms of wines that go wrong or something, then that to me is negative, and I think that's very bad for our industry as a whole. So I've managed to cram, I think, quite a lot of techie information in there into a quite short period of time, so I'd be very happy to take any questions from you.
I half know the answer to this question, but I thought it might be interesting to ask it anyway, because other people might not. At the beginning of your talk, you were talking about naphthalene getting into the wine in the flexi tanks.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the tanks, the flexi bags aren't allowed to come anywhere near naphthalene. So how does it get in contact with the bag?
It is actually in the, how can I put it, the surrounding air inside the metal container.
Is that because the containers are used for other things, such as, I think it was clothes, wasn't it, that were coming halfway across the world and treated with the mothball, which is the source of naphthalene?
There is that, and also containers, empty containers. I mean, naphthalene it kills insects. It kills nasties and perfects nasty insects traveling the world. So a number of materials will have mothball type products based on naphthalene. So think if you have or even within a ship's hold itself. So just imagine you have an environment where something has been sprayed to kill insects. That metal box then warms up. It's inevitable that some of it is going to come into the atmosphere. So when I talk about migration, it is basically from the atmosphere. So it's not contact per se, it's within the atmosphere. But I must emphasize that is now, yes, it was a problem, but that has now been, as far as I'm concerned, has been resolved.
Thank you.
Sorry, it feels like I'm being interrogated.
Geoff, you mentioned that there was a downward trend in free SO2.
Yeah.
Do you think that's linked in any way to an upward trend or increasing residual sugar levels in wine?
It's a good point, Chris. It may well be related. It may be consumer pressure, just reducing free SO2 levels in general. I'm not an advocate for excessively high free sulfur dioxide levels, but I think we need to be a bit sharp in terms of working out what is the correct level for that particular wine rather than a blanket approach. And in terms of that particular wine, taking on board the alcohol content, the pH, so that you look at the wine holistically and what do we actually want for that. What I tend to see with some companies is just this blanket approach. That's our spec for a white wine, that's our spec for a red wine. We need to be a little bit clever.
Thank you.
I think someone touched on this yesterday with regards journey times being longer, and you just mentioned it there. Can you just elaborate on that and maybe give us a few examples of from A to B, from Australia to the UK, how and why?
Reasons I can't really comment on, but just being aware of, in terms of what our clients have advised us in terms of a journey time, the journey times are gradually getting longer. Whether it is consolidation of consignments, but it's something to be wary of.
And temperatures is climate change, I guess, or anything else?
I think much of it is when it goes across the equator and how long it takes in an environment where it's warm, or for example it could be on a quay somewhere. So it's quite difficult to look at it in terms of a post-mortem, in terms of where did the actual problems happen. But it's one of the things with any transport in a metallized container is you're going to get a residual temperature in that container. And I wasn't here to hear about Barry's presentation, but the bulk versus bottled is a really interesting debate. And I'm not sure if Barry covered this, but if you actually look at the profile of temperatures in terms of bottle versus bag, bottles, the temperature profiles go up and down because a bottle will cool down very quickly, whereas a bulk, you have a large thermal capacity. It takes a long time to get up to a higher temperature, but conversely, it takes longer to cool down as well. So with bottles, you're getting more up and down. Bulk is more consistent, more gradual change. Just flagging it up as a point of concern. Thank you.